First contact and discovery. The Trulari starship emerged from hyperspace on the edge of Earth's solar system, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight into prismatic patterns. Inside the bridge, Ambassador Nera stood motionless, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the blue-green world displayed on the viewscreen. "Such a young species," she remarked, her voice a melodious cascade of tones. "Their first radio signals reached our detection arrays barely a century ago." Science Director Vex moved beside her, his gray scales shifting with thought patterns. "And yet they've already established colonies on their moon and neighboring planet. Their development curve is unusual." "That's why we're here," Nera replied. "The Council believes humans might be the missing piece in understanding technological development patterns across sentient species." The Trulari Collective had spent millennia cataloging and studying emerging civilizations throughout the galaxy. They'd prided themselves on their methodical approach, their careful observations, and their non-interference protocols. Until now, they had merely watched Earth from afar, collecting data on human broadcasts, analyzing their technology, and predicting their developmental arc. By Trulari calculations, humans should still be struggling with basic spaceflight, not building orbital habitats and terraforming Mars. Something didn't fit their models, and the Council wanted answers. "Begin the approach sequence," Nera ordered. "Initiate the greeting protocols we've prepared." On Earth, chaos erupted as massive ships appeared in orbit. Global communications networks flooded with images of the crystalline vessels hovering over major cities. Military forces worldwide went on high alert, but no aggressive actions came from the visitors. Instead, a message transmitted simultaneously to every communication device on the planet. "We are the Trulari. We come in peace and curiosity. We wish to understand." After the initial panic subsided, Earth's United Planetary Council arranged a meeting with the alien representatives. Director Elena Rice, Earth's foremost xenobiologist, led the human team, alongside Dr. James Chen, a quantum physicist, and General Maya Williams, representing Earth's defense forces. The first formal meeting took place at a neutral facility constructed specifically for this purpose in Geneva. Ambassador Nera and her team moved with fluid grace that seemed impossible for their crystalline-scaled bodies. "Your species fascinates us," Nera began, her translator rendering her melodic speech into crisp English. "You have achieved in decades what typically takes centuries. We wish to understand how." Director Reyes maintained her diplomatic composure. "We're simply curious by nature, Ambassador. Humanity has always pushed boundaries." "Perhaps," Science Director Vex interjected, his scales shifting to a doubtful pattern. "Or perhaps there is more to your story than even you know." Over the following weeks, cultural and scientific exchanges flourished. The Trulari shared knowledge of stellar cartography and xenobiology, while humans offered insights into quantum computing and genetic engineering. Yet throughout these exchanges, Ambassador Nera and her science team continued their own investigations. They were particularly interested in human archaeological sites. The Trulari spent hours examining artifacts from ancient civilizations, comparing technological progression rates against their vast database of species development patterns. Their ancient monuments show mathematical precision that exceeds the capabilities of their tools at that time. Vex noted after visiting the Great Pyramid. "And these recurring symbols across disconnected civilizations." He projected holographic images of similar patterns found in Sumerian, Mayan, and ancient Chinese artifacts. Ambassador Nera's scales rippled with intensity. "Request permission for deep scanning of these sites." Initially, Earth authorities hesitated, but scientific curiosity won out. The Trulari brought specialized equipment to major archaeological sites worldwide. At Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the oldest known temple complex on Earth, their scans revealed something unexpected. "There's a chamber beneath the main structure," Vex announced, his scales pulsing with excitement. "Composed of materials that shouldn't exist in a 12,000-year-old site." The joint excavation team worked carefully, using Trillary phasing technology to access the hidden chamber without disturbing the ancient stones above. What they found defied explanation. The underground room contained a perfectly preserved metallic sphere, approximately 2 meters in diameter, inscribed with patterns that matched no known human language. It sat upon a pedestal made from an alloy unknown to Earth metallurgy. This material, Dr. Chen ran his analysis tool over the sphere's surface. It contains elements not found on the periodic table. Ambassador Nira's scales had gone completely still, a sign of intense focus among her kind. We have seen similar artifacts before, but never on developing worlds. What does that mean? Director Rice asked. It means, Nira replied slowly, that your world may have been visited long before our arrival, or something else entirely. Further analysis revealed the sphere was not just an artifact, but a device, still powered after thousands of years by an unknown energy source. The patterns weren't decorative but mathematical sequences of extraordinary complexity. As the research team debated how to proceed, Dr. Eliza Okafor, a linguist specializing in pattern recognition, made a breakthrough. These aren't just mathematical sequences, she explained, projecting her findings. They're coordinates, star coordinates, but using a reference point that doesn't match our current stellar positions. Because stars move over time, Vex confirmed. These coordinates would have been accurate approximately 100,000 years ago. The implications stunned both human and Trillary researchers. Whatever civilization created this device existed long before recorded human history. When they carefully activated a portion of the sphere using targeted electromagnetic pulses, it projected a holographic map showing Earth and 12 other star systems, connected by lines that pulsed with light. Within days, similar spheres were discovered buried beneath ancient sites around the world. Under Stonehenge, beneath Easter Island, deep in the Cambodian jungle, and in caves in South Africa. Each contained the same star map, but with different sections highlighted. Their nodes, Dr. Chen theorized, parts of a network. Ambassador Nira had been uncharacteristically quiet during these discoveries. When she finally spoke, her voice lacked its usual melodic quality. The council must be informed immediately. This changes everything we understood about your species. Meanwhile, unusual phenomena began occurring worldwide. Individuals reported strange dreams of distant stars and technologies beyond human understanding. Some claimed to suddenly understand the mathematical patterns on the spheres without any prior knowledge. Morgan Keller, a previously unremarkable history teacher from Auckland, became the first to demonstrate inexplicable abilities. When brought to examine one of the spheres, she placed her hand on its surface, and the device responded, illuminating with patterns that had remained dormant during all previous tests. "I know what this is," she said, her eyes distant. "I've always known somehow." The sphere projected new information, detailed schematics for machinery beyond current human technology. When asked how she had activated it, Morgan could only shake her head. "It recognized me. My genetic pattern." Similar cases emerged globally. Ordinary people suddenly displaying knowledge they couldn't possibly possess, able to interact with the ancient technology in ways neither humans nor Trillary could explain. Blood tests revealed a commonality. All these individuals possessed a unique genetic marker, previously dismissed as junk DNA, that exactly matched patterns encoded in the spheres. As researchers grappled with these discoveries, automated systems began activating in all the excavated chambers simultaneously. Energy readings spiked off the charts. Ground-penetrating radar detected massive structural changes occurring deep beneath the Earth's surface on every continent. The Trillary High Council, upon receiving Ambassador Nira's reports, sent an urgent message. Protocol Omega initiated. The progenitors are awakening. When asked what this meant, Ambassador Nira turned to the assembled human leaders, her scales now a solemn deep blue. "We believed we were bringing first contact to your world. It appears instead that we may have triggered the return of something far older, something your people have forgotten." In the Antarctic, Far from any known ancient human settlement, the ice began to crack and shift as something massive stirred beneath the frozen surface. Awakening and revelation. The massive structure that emerged from beneath the Antarctic ice defied explanation. A perfect pyramid of obsidian-like material rose 2 kilometers high, its surface unmarked by the thousands of years it had spent buried. As it breached the surface, similar structures activated worldwide, rising from ocean depths, desert sands, and mountain ranges. Global panic ensued. Military forces surrounded each site, but the structures remained inactive after their emergence. They simply stood, silent and impenetrable, their surfaces reflecting the sky like black mirrors. The awakening protocol has begun, Morgan Keller announced when brought to the Antarctic site. Her eyes had taken on a strange luminescence, and dozens like her, now called resonants, gathered at each structure worldwide, drawn by dreams and inexplicable knowledge. Ambassador Nira's reports to the Trillary Council became increasingly urgent as more data emerged. The Council's response shocked her. These findings match ancestral warning index protocols. Immediate withdrawal recommended. Non-interference imperative. For the first time in her diplomatic career, Nira hesitated to follow Council directives. Something unprecedented is happening here, she told Science Director Vex. If we leave now, we may miss the most important discovery in our history. Vex's scales rippled with concern. The Council fears what's awakening. There are legends among our oldest records, tales of those who came before, the progenitors who seeded the stars with life, then vanished during the Great Collapse. On Earth, tensions escalated as a faction of Trillary ships departed orbit without explanation, while others remained. Ambassador Nira requested an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. I must share something my people have kept hidden, she began, her translator struggling to convey her complex emotional tones. Throughout our exploration of the galaxy, we've discovered fragments of an ancient civilization that predates all known species. We call them the progenitors. They achieved technological advancement beyond anything we can comprehend, then disappeared approximately 100,000 years ago. She projected images of artifacts found across dozens of worlds, all bearing similar mathematical patterns to Earth's spheres. We believe they were extinct. Now we suspect they may have had a different fate. Dr. Chen leaned forward. Are you suggesting these progenitors have some connection to humans? Not just a connection, Nira replied. Based on our genetic analysis and these awakening structures, we believe humans may be the progenitors, or rather, their descendants, genetically modified and memory wiped. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just encountering advanced aliens. They might be rediscovering their own forgotten legacy as the most advanced species the galaxy had ever known. Meanwhile, the resonance numbers grew. Thousands worldwide now experienced the same dreams, the same impossible knowledge. When gathered at the structures, they worked with inexplicable coordination, interfacing with surfaces that responded only to their touch. At the Antarctic Pyramid, Morgan Keller led a team of resonants in activating what appeared to be an entrance. The obsidian surface rippled like liquid, allowing them passage inside. Similar breakthroughs occurred at structures worldwide. Inside, they found vast chambers filled with technology that defied current scientific understanding: crystalline computers, gravity manipulation systems, and energy sources that had remained operational for millennia. Most significant was what the resonants called the Archive, a vast database containing the history of a civilization that once spanned hundreds of star systems. As they accessed it, the truth emerged piece by piece. Humans had indeed once been the progenitors, an interstellar civilization of unparalleled advancement. Approximately 100,000 years ago, they encountered something at the edge of the galaxy, something they called simply the void. Not a black hole or any known astronomical phenomenon, but a breach in reality itself that consumed everything it touched. Unable to defeat this existential threat, the progenitors implemented a desperate plan. They selected Earth, a world they had seeded with life millions of years earlier, as a sanctuary. Using their mastery of genetics, they'd modified themselves, removing the neural patterns that allowed their advanced abilities and technology use, inserting dormant genetic keys that would eventually reactivate. They buried their technology in structures designed to endure epochs, programmed to awaken when humanity reached a specific development threshold, or when the void began expanding again. They made themselves forget, Dr. Rice whispered, reviewing the data. They became us, primitive versions of themselves, to hide from this void. But the archive revealed something else. The void was still out there, still expanding, and recent astronomical data from both human and Trillary sources confirmed it had accelerated. The awakening protocols hadn't triggered because of the Trillary arrival. They'd activated because the threat was returning. As this information spread, Earth's response fractured. Some embraced this newfound heritage, while others rejected it as a threat to religious and cultural identities built on the assumption of humanity's unique evolution on Earth. Among the Trillary, a similar division formed. A significant faction, led by officers who had defied the Council's withdrawal order, believed they should help humanity reclaim their legacy. Others feared what a reawakened progenitor civilization might mean for the galaxy's power balance. Tensions escalated when a Trillary battle group entered the solar system, demanding Ambassador Nera's arrest for protocol violations and a quarantine of all progenitor sites. Earth's military forces mobilized in response. As conflict loomed, Morgan Keller and the other resonants made a discovery that changed everything. The Antarctic Archive contained not just historical records, but the consciousness patterns of the progenitors who had designed the sanctuary plan, preserved as interactive holographic entities that could guide their descendants. The most complete consciousness pattern belonged to Dr. Samira Allen, chief architect of the sanctuary protocol. Her holographic form materialized before the assembled human and Trillary representatives. "The void is not what you think," her image explained, its voice eerily human despite the millennia that had passed. "It is not a natural phenomenon, but a weapon, one we created ourselves, then lost control of." The truth was humbling and horrifying. The progenitors, at the height of their power, had experimented with dimensional engineering, attempting to create a shortcut through space-time. Something went catastrophically wrong, tearing a hole in reality that began consuming everything it touched. "We couldn't stop what we started," Dr. Allen's consciousness continued. "So we hid ourselves, buried our knowledge, and hoped our descendants would find a better solution when they rediscovered who they were." The sensor data was incontrovertible. The void had expanded to consume 12 star systems in the past millennium and was accelerating. Current projections showed it would reach Earth within 3 centuries, a mere moment in cosmic time. Faced with this existential threat, the Trillary battle group stood down. Ambassador Nera addressed her people. "We sought to understand how humans advanced so quickly. Now we know they are remembering, not learning. And their remembrance may be the galaxy's only hope." In the following months, more resonance emerged. The dormant genetic keys within human DNA activated faster as people were exposed to the ancient technology. Knowledge and abilities long buried in human genetics began to resurface, not just technological understanding but evolutionary adaptations the progenitors had designed for themselves. Earth transformed as humanity reclaimed their heritage piece by piece. The Trillary and other alien civilizations watched with a mixture of hope and trepidation as the former progenitors awakened. 1 year after first contact, humanity faced a crucial decision. The Antarctic Archive offered a complete genetic reversion, the ability to fully restore the neural pathways and biological enhancements that would make them true progenitors again. With these changes, they could access all their ancestors' knowledge and power immediately, rather than the gradual awakening currently underway. But Dr. Allen's consciousness offered a warning. "We failed because we advanced without wisdom. Our technological reach exceeded our ethical grasp. You have a chance we never had, to remember selectively, to choose a different path." In a global referendum unprecedented in human history, Earth voted not for complete restoration, but for a measured awakening, a path that would integrate their progenitor heritage with the unique perspectives developed during their time as just humans. Ambassador Nira, witnessing this decision, sent her final report to the Trilari Council. They are not becoming what they were. They are becoming something new, neither progenitor nor human, but a synthesis that may succeed where their ancestors failed. As the Antarctic Pyramid's highest chamber activated, projecting a real-time image of the distant void, humans and Trilari stood together, watching the threat that had once driven the most advanced civilization in the galaxy to hide themselves away. Morgan Keller, now recognized as one of the most advanced resonants, stepped forward. Our ancestors ran from this. We won't make the same mistake. She turned to the assembled representatives of Earth and the stars. We didn't just remember our past, we learned from it. The technological renaissance that followed would span centuries, but unlike their progenitor ancestors, humanity moved forward with both the knowledge of the past and the wisdom earned through their time of forgetting. And they did not advance alone. The Trilari and other species joined them in a coalition unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The void still approached, its darkness visible in the most powerful telescopes as an absence of stars. But for the first time in 100,000 years, the light of civilization stood united against it, ready to face what came. Not as progenitors reborn, but as something the galaxy had never seen before. Humanity awakened.